Morning, y'all. Okay, Tuesday. So let's kind of go over this. I got a question for y'all. Is the end game feudalism? Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with what a feudal system is, think of Europe in the Middle Ages. You had kings and dukes who owned all the land. You were allowed to live on the land and to practice your trade. However, you served your master, okay? You grew his food, you shoed his horses, you sewed his clothing, you built his castle, and in exchange, the king or the duke would offer you protection from any invading force with his soldiers. In your spare time, you were allowed to grow food to feed your family or apply your trade to earn something that you could trade for in a village in a barter system. So now let's take that concept to the 21st century, all right? The kings and dukes have now been replaced with oligarchs and plutocrats. The uber rich are now going to own all the land. You'll be allowed to live and work the land to support the oligarch. You'll grow his food, you'll repair his vehicles, you'll maintain his IT network, and you'll serve his every need. In your spare time, you'll be allowed to grow food, feed your family, and of course apply your trade to earn something for barter in your district, right? You see, this is the society that the left yearns for. Do you think they honestly want socialism under one government? I mean, really? Okay, hell no, all right? They want a United States of many kingdoms rather than states, all right? So maybe you're going to live in Zuckerberg, California, or Gatesington, or New Biden, or, God forbid, Obama-Noy, or Clinton-Saw, okay? That's their goal, feudalism. They, the so-called elite, will smash you down, bend your will, make you so dependent upon them and their decisions that you'll have no choice but to comply. Does that sound like utopia to you? Okay. Nope. It probably doesn't to almost everybody, but the oligarchs have their useful idiots, i.e. BLM and Antifa, doing all the work to get them there, right? BLM wants reparations for slavery. I find that absolutely hilarious. They're actually acting as the vessel to return themselves to slavery. They just aren't smart enough to figure it out, and yet the world seems to keep supporting them, okay? This is why the results of this election are so critical to the future of the United States as we know it. You see, if Biden is somehow declared the victor, I won't say is elected because he certainly wasn't elected, okay, then this is the path the United States is on. We're going to become a feudal society very quickly. This is why you hear the plans of making D.C. and Puerto Rico states, of packing the Supreme Court, and all the other fantasies that the liberal left has, okay? They want to put all this stuff in place so there can be absolutely no objection on a federal level to the whims of the oligarchs and the plutocrats, all right? Then these oligarchs and plutocrats can appoint governors and mayors to oversee sections of their kingdoms, okay? And they'd be loyal all the way up the food chain. Congratulations, you're now a serf, and you have no ability to stop them. First you would be disarmed, and then starved and jailed if you ever resisted, okay? This is why the future of this country lies squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. He's not an oligarch. Hell, he was a billionaire before he got to Washington. He didn't become one while he was there. Yet he's the leader of the common man, not the rich and powerful, okay? That's such an anomaly, it makes no sense to the average useful idiot, all right? You see, Trump isn't going away if the election's somehow stolen from him. He's not going to Florida. He's not going to play golf for the rest of his life. This man is a fighter, and he doesn't like to lose, let alone lose gracefully. Okay. What will happen is he will be the leader of a second government. I don't mean shadow government, because this is going to be wide out in the open for everyone to see. Okay. It's going to be reminiscent to the Confederate States of America when Jefferson Davis was president. Okay. Now, there are at least 71 million people that voted for Trump that absolutely will not bow down to Biden and the oligarchs. It won't be the South that rises again, but it's going to be a phoenix that rises from the ashes. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned what would happen if either one of the candidates won the election. Go back and watch the Biden video again. So far, everything I said is happening, okay? We're already hearing about food shortages. There were some minor riots in the streets. That's what I said, be short riots. Of course, they were mislabeled as celebrations, because they were all peaceful, burning down people and beating up opposition, but, it's peaceful. Ammo prices have gone up. In case anyone hasn't noticed, ammo's even harder to find now than it was before the election. And, oh, by the way, I looked at prices. 223 rounds are 30% more expensive than they were 2 weeks ago, okay? Then you get the vaccine, okay? Don't you find it strange that Pfizer announced their vaccine results immediately after the MSM anointed Biden the victor? Okay. Usually when a drug company comes up with a revolutionary new drug, that goes to a respected medical journal first when the discovery's made, not CNN, okay? And still, the latest numbers say the vaccine is 94.5% effective. That came out on Monday afternoon, okay, up from the 90 before. So if it's 94.5% effective, that means it's 5.5% ineffective, okay? Pretty easy math there. But the chances of catching COVID right now are 3.3%. So are you actually 2.2% more likely to catch COVID if you get the vaccine than if you don't? Those figures make me doubt the vaccine is effective at all, okay? Now, as someone who prepares for SHTF events, this is what you need to remember, okay? The military overwhelmingly supported Trump. Law enforcement overwhelmingly supported Trump. Veterans overwhelmingly supported Trump. And the unions overwhelmingly supported Trump. Trump built a coalition of working men and women, fighting men and women, and most importantly, trained men and women that are all hell-bent on preserving the United States and its values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not just having it handed to you, okay? On the other side, you have the useful idiots who are untrained, unskilled soy boys, tree huggers, and perpetual victims who'd be no match for the Trump train. Well, not all the 71 million people that voted for Trump are able-bodied, trained, and or mentally or physically capable to physically repel the hordes of communist sympathizers and New World Order maniacs. Remember, only 10% of the U.S. Army is in a combat role. The other 90% are in supporting roles, okay? If we ever got to an armed conflict point, and God knows I hope we don't, okay, don't think you can't help in the fight. As preppers, we know medical, we know logistics, we know how to feed, we know how to clothe, we know how to shelter people, okay? Think about the people who survived World War II. Not the soldiers, but the ones back home who supported the war effort, okay? Without them, you'd probably be speaking German today, okay? Everybody's important in this. In the annals of history, the Middle Ages and feudalism ended pretty much unceremoniously, okay? Every socialist country has died a slow, painful death. Why? People eventually get fed up, toiling for the betterment of others while they get nowhere themselves. That's why capitalism works. Because if you actually work hard, you can actually better your lot in life. The key there, though, is you have to work hard, something a socialist is absolutely allergic to. I mean, remind me again what job Bernie Sanders has ever had, okay? You see, those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. We've all heard that in our life. Now, considering the rewriting of history that the left is so fond of doing, the taking history out of the classroom or stop teaching it altogether for the last 30 years because it doesn't support their agenda, it shouldn't surprise you one bit as to the direction they want to take us. They refuse to learn from history. They refuse to even acknowledge it, okay? Of course they're going to make the same mistakes. That's our ace in the hole, okay? We know how this story ends. Folks, it's coming, okay? Call it what you will. The day of reckoning, the end of days, the revelation, it's coming. This is our future. We either accept it or we fight it. You have to decide what you are willing to do. You may have some very tough choices to make, but in the end, you're going to have to decide whether you'd rather die on your feet or live on your knees. And personally, there's only one that I'm ever going to get on my knees for, and it sure as hell ain't Joe Biden. Pinball out.